Welcome to this old woman's adventure at Rockhound State Park in southern New Mexico. We'll go ahead and arrive at the park, see a beautiful sunset and beautiful sunrise, and take a short hike. Look what I found. Somebody left a painted rock. I love finding these. That's so cool. Hello to whoever left that there. We arrived at Deming, New Mexico, and thankfully exited off of Interstate 10. I don't like traveling on the interstates. I much prefer the U.S. highways and state highways. We exited onto New Mexico 549 and drove east. We passed several small RV parks that looked pretty nice. If we ever come back, we might check out these for a stay. Also on your left is the Old Glory Outpost and Shamrock Gas Station, kind of a landmark. Is a small town, but it does have a Walmart, and we did stop there for some supplies. It's a fairly nice store, but it's on the west side of town. Right now we're heading east, and on your left you can see some groves of trees, possibly pecan or pistachio. New Mexico has a lot of pistachio groves. Coming up, also on the left, there's a winery, Liscom's Winery. They do have wine tasting, if you're into that. After that, we pretty much face the desert. There's a few abandoned buildings on our right, maybe some cattle grazing around. We look at the mountains and wonder if that's where Rockhound State Park is nestled, at the foot of those mountains. It's about a 10-mile drive, so we continue on into the desert. We turn right onto Stirrup Road, also known as Route 143, and we head south. It's another 6 miles to the entrance to Rockhound Park. And yes, the park is going to be nestled in those beautiful desert mountains. They're called the Florida and the Little Florida Mountains. I apologize for this horrible video. The map is glaring into the windshield as we arrive at Rockhound State Park. And I didn't notice this until I was at home editing this video. This is the only video I have of driving through the park. On the right is the Welcome Center, a great place to visit. Don't skip it. They have the usual items, souvenirs, and candy, ice cream, sodas to buy, but they also have displays of the rocks and the minerals in this area. The really cool thing about Rockhound Park is that you can walk the trails and hunt for semi-precious gems and different kinds of rocks, and you can take home whatever you find. So again, I apologize for the map glaring right in the middle of your picture, but I did want to share this with you. As we pull up here to the intersection, to the right is tent camping, and to the left is the RV sites. We go ahead and turn, and all the roads here are gravel. They're not paved, but they're pretty well maintained, not too bumpy. Maybe just a little, because they are gravel. But here on the right is a group day use area for group picnics. Nice little shady spot. And as we drive along, you'll see there's a dump station Over on the right here, the park has water and electric. It's a very comfortable park, very beautiful, very quiet, very scenic. The restroom building is here. They have toilets and showers. We did make use of the showers here, and they were clean, well maintained, plenty of water. Here we turn a little bit and go up to our campsite. We had Site 27, and it was a very large pull-through with a picnic table and a ramada, and you'll see that in a little bit later in the video. But here we are arriving back at our campsite, and there's our pod. Sunset, Rockhound State Park, New Mexico. Look at the view from our site as the sun fades in the west. Look at those mountains. Those are called the Florida Mountains. That way over those hills, 40 miles south, is the U.S.-Mexico border. It's a nice, quiet park for Friday night. Very peaceful. Look at those mountains that surround. We're surrounded by mountains pretty much. Very, very scenic area. There's our little ramada with a picnic table and a fire pit. We've got electric and water all set up. It's morning at Rockhound State Park. The sun's coming up behind us and it's hitting the mountains to the southwest, and it just looks really pretty. Look at the sculptured mountains.
Yes, I think that's Denny.
Yep, I think that is. Deming's up that way. Hey, time for some breakfast before we get our day going. Do a little scrambled eggs. Get some protein. The daytime temperatures were up in the 80s here at Rockhound State Park, so neither Blue or I decided that we wanted to do any of the trails during the daytime. So on our second morning here, we headed out early to take a look at the Thunder Egg Trail and decided to just do the small garden loop as it was the travel day and we didn't have all that much time. The sun was behind the mountain for the first part of our hike, and so the landscape looked a little bit darker. The trail is well delineated with rocks along the sides, and it winds around the back of the campground. I wish I had actually put on my hat, got my walking stick and a bottle of water, and hiked the full Thunder Egg Trail. It is only 1.1 miles. As you walk along, they have placards telling you about the different flora of the desert. There's some bunch grass right here. We walked along and look at those mountains. The sun's still back there, but it will come over the peaks pretty soon. And look how it makes the plain out there where Demi is like of a golden color. So pretty. We walked along for quite a ways on the garden trail and looked at some of the different cactus. There's a barrel cactus getting ready to bloom. And over here on the left is some purple prickly pear and creosote bush. The land is so arid and just very dry. You have to use a lot of lotion and lip balm when you're here for any length of time. But it was a beautiful morning and we enjoyed our time on the trail. Here's Blue leading the way. He really enjoyed it. So many different scents to check out as we walked along. Here's another, well, I couldn't quite tell what that was. But here's a bench where you can relax and enjoy the view. They had a couple benches along the garden trail, so it's a nice little spot. And here the sun is coming over the peaks of the Florida mountains, and we're casting our shadow along the trail. Everything is a lot brighter now as we walk along to the end of the trail. I love the way the mountains look in the distance. They're so sculpted, and the way the sun casts the shadows in the ravines on the rocks of the mountains. It's just so scenic. Here's another bench, and right here they even have a water fountain. I've never seen that in a state park before on a trail. Very cool. They have a barbed wire fence delineating the boundaries of the park right there. And as we walk along, we found this stone cairn, um, and it's sitting on like a star-shaped pedestal. Not quite sure what it meant, but it was interesting to see. We finish our hike here, walking into the sun as it rises over the Florida mountains. Beautiful morning. Rockhound was a very beautiful park, and I'd love to come back again and spend more time. Our site still has a little bit of shade this morning. That sun's coming. It was a really nice site. Site number 27. Very comfortable. We enjoyed our stay at Rockhound State Park. We were here in the early part of May. I'd love to come back again, maybe in the cooler seasons, maybe early April or late October, and explore more of the trails. I just love how beautiful it was here, how quiet and peaceful. It was so scenic, and the price was right too. I think we paid about $14 a night. Well, thanks for watching and hope you visit sometime.